This is Dear Psychopomp. Let's talk about death. The podcast where we peel back the veil, sip tea with the reaper, and get cozy with the inevitable. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. I'm your host, Anne-Marie, your slightly morbid death-conscious guide through the underworld of mortality, grief, and all the beautiful, messy things that the universe gives us. But before we dig in, a couple of important things. First, I am not a therapist, counselor, psychic, or priest. I'm just a death doula talking about death, dying, and all the shadows in between. This podcast is not a substitute for professional advice, support, or services. And please take care of yourself and seek help from licensed professionals if you need it. Second, some of the topics we explore can get heavy, emotional, or triggering. If anything hits too close to home, please step back, take a breath, or come back when you're ready. Your well-being is what matters most. Now, if you're still with me, light a candle, make peace with your demons, and let's talk about what really matters. Because death is just the beginning of a really weird, wonderful conversation. Welcome, dear listeners, to Dear Psychopomp, your lantern in the fog, your ferryman on the river Styx, your ticket to the eerily charming after-party of the consciousness. Today, we are joined by a man who seems to have stepped straight from a Victorian seance and into a rather well-appointed recording studio. A dandy with a banjolele, a bard in brogues, a time-traveling troubadour here to charm the living. He is Mr. B, the gentleman rhymer, purveyor of trap hop, and possibly the only person to rap the Queen's English while gazing into the abyss and offering it a cocktail. With a twirl of his mustache and a wink to the reaper, Mr. B reminds us that the line between comedy and tragedy is only as wide as a crisply pressed crease in a fine pair of trousers. So pull up a velvet armchair, light a candle for your ancestors, and pour a sherry for your shadow. Dear listeners, please doff your hats for Mr. B, the gentleman rhymer. Thank you so much for being here.
A pleasure. I've never been so eloquently introduced before.
Oh, I had to do it justice. I've been listening to you since early 2019.
Yeah, okay.
So I feel I have to embody the
Yes,
persona.
Good. That sounds like a plan. Yeah.
Yes. So how do you do?
Very well, very well. It's yes, I'm in Brighton on the south coast of England, and it's a lovely sunny day today actually, which is not something we've had very recently. We seem to have a lovely May, and then suddenly June arrived, bringing a proper British summer, i.e. lots of rain and lots of cold wind.
Oh, that sounds like the coast of British Columbia here.
Ah, there you go. Yes.
Yes. I wanted to let you know that, my father passed away in December 2018, right before Christmas. He would have loved that. He was a grand gesture kind of guy, going out with a bang. And after he died, the usual music didn't hit anymore. It didn't carry the same energy. And so there was one day I was in my house just, throwing a pity party for one. And I asked the wisdom of the Google speaker. And I was like, play music that will make me dance and laugh.
I see.
Voila, Mr. B.
And there I was.
And there you were.
Well, who would have known I'd be that high up in Google's estimation?
I know, hey, that's how you know you've made it.
This is true, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a lovely thing to happen.
It was. My poor husband had to listen to you for many months straight. I think he's probably memorized your songs better than I have.
Very good.
I've actually made my own Spotify Christmas playlist. And Looking Forward to Leaving is on it.
Yes. Yes. I took that one. That was, I think I almost stole that from Larry David, I think. I think he was doing a an SNL opening. He was presenting. He was doing his opening monologue, and I think he just said, I think the sentence was, "My favorite thing to do is to leave wherever I am," which just sounds just sounded such a perfect bit of misanthropy, and perhaps
Absolutely.
perhaps relevant to what we're talking about today.
True. True.
Yes.
Yeah. I always like to say that I'm late getting home.
Right. Yes.
Must go. Late to get home.
Exactly. Yes. Well, I always try and avoid saying I must dash because everyone keeps saying that to me because of the mustache.
Mm.
It's, I try to avoid too many puns.
Why? One can
Well, I
never
mean,
be too punny.
well, perhaps yes, perhaps, and I do say too many. I mean, it depends, what too many means to people. I know to my own dad, my own father, too many was never enough.
Ah,
He loved a pun. He did like
yes.
those. Yes, yeah.
Yes. And I mean, thank you so much for bringing him up. I know that you've lost your father recently, and you know, my heart goes out to you.
No, thank you.
It's a specific kind of feeling that you only know once you've felt it.
Yes, it's very. I mean, I remember as a kid using the word. Everyone was like, "How are you?" What's it like losing out? It's weird. It's just, it's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose that's the thing. It's that thing of facing death and the whole concept of just being alive in the first place being slightly ridiculous, and then suddenly not being alive anymore, being here and then not being here. Also, my old friend who designed the Mr. B the Gentleman Rhymer logo and was my flatmate when I started doing this, he passed away a few months before my dad, actually. So I had a bit of a year. It was a couple of years ago, but yeah, that was a heck of a year.
No kidding.
Yeah, yeah. So
Oh
that was
wow.
a bit of a one. But
And
yes, weird was definitely one of the things. But maybe it's one of those things you say just to make things, to, I don't know, put people at ease perhaps, or maybe not put them at ease, one way or the other, or to deflect or something. I don't know, but it was just odd
mhm.
because it's never exactly how you expect it to be.
No, and it was quite unexpected for me.
Yes,
Um,
likewise. Yeah.
so like, I wasn't ready. I wasn't,
Mm.
you know, I'm a planner. I'm anxious. I'm Canadian. What can I say?
Right.
Um, so I was, being a death doula, I think about like, okay, how am I going to act when this happens? And no, I went off script, and
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
and so first of all, what's your father's name?
It was Lawrence, or Laurie, as we used to call him. Yes,
Lawrence.
yes,
Oh,
Lawrence. Yes, it's
lovely.
actually my middle name as well. So there you go.
Timeless and classic. I
And
love it.
it was his father's name as well. Apparently, my dad, my grandmother wanted to call my father Peter, but then in the maternity ward, it turns out the woman that was in the bed next to her had a cat called Peter, and my nan said, "Well, I'm not naming my son after a cat." So he became Lawrence, which is my grandfather's name. Which
I
says a bit
love
about
that.
my grandmother, actually. She was a bit of a character.
I can tell, yeah. Especially, I mean, if you're taking cat names so seriously, which I
Yes,
would. We have nine
true.
animals here,
Wow.
so names are they carry meaning, and
Yeah,
sometimes
of
they
course, of
just sound
course.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely an animal lover, but we're in an old sort of Art Deco flat, and we're not allowed to have pets here, which is a bit of a shame.
Oh,
So yeah, which is a shame. But there you go. I could just enjoy other people's pets instead.
that's fair. I used to
Yes, yeah.
live in an apartment that was not allowed to have any animals,
Hmm.
and I had 17,
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
living life on the
Sticking it to the
edge.
man. Yeah.
Yeah. Watch me go. So I was wondering,
Hmm.
what is your favorite story about your father?
Oh, blimey, that's let me
If you could
think.
pick one that just lights up your soul.
Well, yes, I think. I mean, there are various things. I do remember, I think it was on his 80th birthday. We were having a little barbecue in the garden, and he was obsessed with our local football team, which were a kind of a non-league team. So they were not they were kind of semi-professional, small ground. Usually get about 700 or 800 people that go into their ground rather than the 70,000 or what have you that go to Man United and Chelsea. Although he was a Man United fan as well, but I think I asked him. I said, "What was the best moment of your life?" And then I said to him, "Please don't let the first three words be." I said, "Remember that Mum is here, your wife is here, and please don't let the first three words be when Sutton United." And my dad said, "Oh, no, it's not that. It's because your mum was at that game as well." So he basically, so it was about that, but it was the fact that my mum had come to a Sutton United game with him was the best moment of his life.
Oh.
So yes, I mean, yeah, he was sort of slightly daft, but always, I think that's the thing. One of the things I liked, the funeral, there was lots and lots of my friends there, and they'd come from, and also he died just a little bit before Christmas, so we had to have the funeral in between Christmas and New Year's Eve,
Mm,
in that kind of dead spot where people just stay at home and don't do anything.
yeah.
And he was 83 when he passed, and there was a great many of my friends were there as well, because they all, everybody liked him. He was a very well liked man, and he was kind of very, he's particularly, he's not, yeah, he was very kind of unambitious in his own way. He just
Mhm.
liked his life. He liked, he was happy. This, I always think it's a bit of has not set me in good stead for life, that my parents just never argued. They just seemed to get on all the time and just give each other enough leeway to do whatever it was they wanted to do, and just never seemed to. They always seemed to get on, and they'd still, walk down the road holding hands and that kind of thing. And
Aw.
so, but yeah, so he was just kind of happy with his lot, and I think that was something that came out of him just in his being, and the fact that, yeah, it was really lovely. There were so many of, my friends came along to his funeral that I wasn't expecting at all, and they were all, we wanted to be here because we really liked him. So
Mhm.
that's just a nice thing.
That's lovely.
Mm.
It's the one thing with death is it either brings out the best in people or the worst in people, and often nowhere in between.
Yeah,
And
this is true. This is true. I
it's
mean, I have my older sister has a learning disability and suffers from some mental health problems, and for the 2.5 years or so, or maybe was it 2.5? Yeah, maybe, or a year and a half, maybe, after he died, it was a lot. It was all hands to the pumps trying to keep her together, and it was tricky a lot of the time, very difficult.
mhm.
But she seems to have settled into a sort of routine. I think routine's very important to her. So yeah, but it was, something she struggled with it a great deal, and it was
Mhm.
also because, again, it was like your father as well. It was relatively sudden. He was, well, in hospital for a couple of weeks, and that was that.
Mhm.
And so, and we would try to protect her as much as possible while he was in hospital. So she was expecting us to come back home with him with us, and we came back home alone and had to tell her that he wasn't going to be with us anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been a tough thing, but at the same time, it's one of those things that keeps you going. Like, you think, okay, I've got to look after my sister, so
Right.
just, don't disappear down anywhere. Just keep going.
Mhm. It's okay to disappear sometimes.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, they
Just
were
don't get
certainly,
lost.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just giving yourself that bit of space, isn't it, to just to do that for a bit, knowing that, okay, this is me. I'll go down into this hole for a little while, and then I'll be out shortly.
Yeah. One moment, please.
Give me a moment, please. I'll just have a quick, or a cup of tea that sorts everything out.
Yeah, exactly. It was it was really difficult with my father because we were estranged at the time
Ah, right.
because of his alcoholism.
Ah, I see.
And I had a hard time reconciling everything that happened. And, that was what, 7 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And so his birthday was June 9th.
Okay. Oh, wow.
And I
Okay.
had a little shot of Grand Marnier in his honor.
Okay.
Slightly ironic, probably not quite appropriate, but he would have loved it.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I suppose so. We do these strange little things that are not necessarily always particularly appropriate.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
my dad was not an appropriate man. He was, and
Right.
not in a bad way, but he was never good at being serious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And not to brag or anything, but I have out dad joked him many times.
Excellent. That's what we like
Many
to hear.
times. I would have been a fantastic father.
Actually, my wife and that's how my wife and he sort of bonded, was over dad jokes and puns and things like that. Yeah, they would try and outdo each other with dad jokes.
Do you have a favorite of his?
Oh no. Oof. Let's have a think. I can't think of any offhand. What was his favourite? I'm trying to think of any that may be, not, slightly inappropriate in a 1970s, slightly, way. Um, I don't know. The only one I keep thinking of is my wife's ex-boss was called Hakan. He was from Turkey. And my dad would endlessly say, "Oh, how can believe this?" and "How can you do this?" and yes, etc., etc. That was one of his ones that he'd always try and bring that person up so that he could do the Hakan jokes.
Lovely.
So yes, it was basic stuff, comedy basics.
Yeah. Well, and it's all about the delivery. If you can just subtly
This is
deadpan it
true.
in, you're good.
This is true. Although I don't think he ever really subtly deadpanned it. He would revel in the whole thing. He'd say, "I can believe it," sort of thing. Yes, he'd really go for it.
That's so much better.
Yes, exactly. He was very chuffed with it. And you could see the relish with which he'd get this stuff out. It's like, yes, I've got one.
Yes. Well, for your father and your friend, cheers.
Cheers indeed. Chin chin.
Mm-hmm. So, Mr. B,
Yes.
if you were to meet death at a cocktail party, what would you say?
Oh, dearie me. What would I say to death at a cocktail? I wouldn't
Or
ask
would
him
you
to play. I wouldn't ask him to play chess because I'm not. I'm
Mm.
bad at chess. I'm very good at losing. I like playing chess, but I'm very good at losing at chess.
Me too.
I don't have that. I don't have a chess brain at all. I can't think more than one step in front of me.
I can, but I get aggressive. Like you're gonna lose, and I get
Ah,
really into it, and then I forget what I'm
ah,
doing. So my husband will take literally 2 days to make a move, and I'll be like, "Ha, this one," and I'll be done. Like,
right.
and I play video games the same way, like
Ah,
hack and slash. I can't do the sneaky stuff. Just no time.
no, no.
No.
Yeah, I tend to do most things. I'm generally very relaxed, but often when say when I'm recording or things like that, I'll do things in a state of mild panic,
Yeah,
but
it's
not hugely. I think that's often because when I started recording, it was sort of very early days of using, say, Cubase or various computer-based sequencing gear, and back then it was if you didn't get everything done in one day, in one take, in a way, then you'd have to reset everything. It wasn't like you can't just save the project and bring it up the next day and it's all fine. You had to reload samples. You had to put floppy disks in here and there, and you had all that stuff. So I think that's why I still can't quite get my brain to say it's all right, it's fine. You can just leave it for now, close it, and come back tomorrow, and it'll all still be there. There you go.
yeah, that's fair.
So yes, I'm immediately veered off from what I might say to death. God, that's just what would I say to death?
Would you say? Would you ask? Would you sing him a song? We
I
wipe
suppose it
to
depends if
beige, perhaps?
yeah, possibly. Yeah, I would probably have to wipe to beige if I ever met death. I suppose it. I suppose it depends if I was ready to meet death or not. If I wasn't quite, I don't know if you'd ever be ready. But although I know, when my grandmother died, she was like 95, I think, and I think she was quite pleased in the end. She's like, okay, I'm done. She kept saying, don't get old, don't get old. And
Oh,
when I think because she was the last of her generation as well, which must have been the most odd feeling. Like all of her friends and people of her, era are all gone. I think her sister-in-law died a year before, and we went to the funeral. And I said to my mum, "How's Nan doing? How's Nan feeling?" And she said, "I think she's jealous." And she said she said she'd wait for me. She said she'd wait for me. So I think she was ready. So I suppose it would depend if I was ready. I'd probably try some kind of subterfuge trying to get away from him if I wasn't.
oh yeah. If death walked into a cocktail party, I'd do a just Irish goodbye and
Exactly,
see ya.
yes. I guess I'd have to do that in a way. I'd just try and just dodge out of the way somewhere.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it'd be funny to
I'd ask him if
slip in.
if there's any tea in hell.
Well, yeah,
Maybe
it's
maybe
warm.
might get a tea break.
What's that saying? You go to heaven for the landscape and hell for the company?
I guess so, yes.
I heard that the other day. I think if I were to casually meet death, I'd probably get nervous and do the finger guns.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
That could be
So,
a way of staving him off for a while.
yeah, he's
He's
like,
like,
"No,
I'm not.
you're
If
you stay."
this person's going to come with me somewhere for a while, it might take a while. I might just leave it.
Yeah. she'll be
I'll
she'll be fine.
I'll dep it out to someone else. A death dep.
Yes.
There you go.
It's like, no. Um Another question I have for you. If time wore a monocle, what would it be watching?
If time wore a monocle, what
Yes.
would it be watching? Oh, would it be watching its pocket watch? I'm assuming it'd have a pocket watch if it had a monocle.
A fair assumption.
Yeah. What would it be watching? I think it'd just be looking at its pocket watch.
That's fair.
Should it? Yes, if it had a monocle, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
What would you think
If
with the same
time
question?
if time wore a
Or
monocle,
would it be like Seinfeld or something like that?
it would be watching. Honestly, it'd probably be stargazing.
Ah, yeah, very nice.
That's what I would do. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how do you imagine the afterlife? Do you think it's like a gentleman's club beyond the veil with the cigars and the velvet chairs, or something less polite and more personal?
I suppose it depends which afterlife you end up going to. I mean,
Um,
I can only imagine. I don't know. Thing is, I mean, I don't think I really believe in an afterlife, just because I don't remember a pre-life either. If it's kind of that's what kind of comforts me about death. I kind of think, oh, think about the '60s. You weren't there either, so or something like that. Okay, fine. Then there'll be another time when I won't be there. Yeah, there'll be another time I won't be there. But I'd imagine again, it's probably very much like experiences of death from here. It's probably completely different from what you think. I very much doubt there's a pearly gate and some just standing on some clouds, sort of playing a harp. Yeah, gentleman's club would be nice, but not just gentlemen. Obviously, I enjoy the company of all, and I find often the company of constant company of males to be quite tedious sometimes. After a while, it depends on who they are.
I
But
agree.
yeah, exactly. It's yes, I enjoy the company of all, really. So, and often sometimes the company of none whatsoever.
Mm.
So yeah, I suppose it depends which bit you go to. I mean, that's the thing as well. Was it Sartre said, death is, was it hell is other people? And then MC 900 for Jesus said, hell is a place of loneliness. So, you can't win either way, really.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, I always joke that I was baptized, so I have a ticket. Okay.
I was baptized and confirmed when I was about 10 or something like that. I went to a Church of England, like a Protestant junior school.
Yeah.
But I think I got confirmed then because meant you could get off lessons and go and eat little paper biscuit things and
Yeah.
drink small, tiny amounts of sherry.
Yeah, that's why I did it too.
Yeah, I was in it for the sherry.
It's like you had to earn it, and I was like 10. Like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
sure, let me agree to
exactly.
this for the rest of my life.
Exactly. Yeah, it means I don't have to do PE or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Of all the classes, I loved school. Huge nerd. I took
Okay.
many, many English courses, as many as I could take, as many science as I could take, and straight A's, teacher's pet. It was awful. No friends.
Really?
And I skipped gym
Oh, there you go.
regularly. They would have days where it was nice out, so you'd have to go for a run and just follow the teacher and do a big circle, and that was the hour. And I was
Yeah.
like, I don't have the lung capacity or the legs for this, because I'm 5'1". Like, I am built for speed, not distance.
Okay. Yes.
I got the torque. And so I would start running with them, and I would stay near the back
Mm-hmm.
and then saunter off to the side, go to
Just yeah.
McDonald's,
There you go. Yeah.
get
A little ghosting.
breakfast, and then eat at the window so I can see when the group started coming back,
Oh, very
and then
good.
follow them back in.
That's very clever. Very good. Resourceful.
Oh, I
Yeah.
think they
You're
just
clearly a
passed
grade
me.
A student. Yeah.
So, yeah, using
Yeah.
my brain.
Exactly. Yeah. Life lessons learnt early.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah, what were we talking about then for? I was just trying before I asked you about your. Oh, that's right. Yeah, being yes, say was we were confirmed and what have you. And I'm also married to a vicar's daughter in the very terribly chappy way. My father-in-law was a man of the cloth, and but what is this is the thing. The problem with that sort of thing, it has made it has made me rethink. I'm not a believer or anything necessarily, but it has made me rethink a lot certain bits of Christianity and what have you. That they're very they're what I might call Jesus-y Christians, in as much as her parents both, they will put other people first. They're not, Republican Jesus. They're they're just people that are kind to others, and if they see someone who needs something, they will go out of their way to help them out and things like that. And it's very small community where they live, and so that's made me kind of I think Christians get a bad rap a lot of the time, and often rightly so. But I don't think those people are properly Christians. In a with a small c. As far as they just seem to be all about helping people out and being kind to people, which is okay. That's that seems to be the thing. Oh, I've lost your sound. It seems.
I
Oh, there you go.
was muted. Sorry.
You were muted. There you go.
I had to cough.
Oh, okay.
I I grew up Catholic.
Uh huh.
Went to Catholic schools, all that fun stuff. And
Mm.
I unfortunately they keep your baptism record on file, so even though I tried to hide it so I couldn't get registered in another Catholic school, they had it on file, so I had to go to
Oh,
Catholic high
really?
school. I
Ah.
tried. I tried. And Me and the priest did not get along
Oh, really?
very well. We had a resident priest, and I asked too many questions.
There you go. No, don't ask too many questions. No.
Yeah, that was frowned
Well, I had,
upon.
yeah, at the school, like the junior school I went to, we had, yeah, our headmaster was a priest, was a vicar, and he was a psychopath.
Yeah,
He was an absolute lunatic, terrifying man.
absolutely. And it's so much about power and control and being submissive to those above you with this hierarchy.
Mm,
And so in the beginning, I read the Bible, I read the whole thing. It was some children's version. And it has a lot of good messages,
mm.
like thou shalt not kill. Totally agree.
Yep, good plan.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's just gotten so distorted
Yes, yeah, it's
over the years that
mm,
it's kind of being used as a weapon or a persona rather than guidelines
yeah,
for not being a douchebag.
absolutely. There's a great book called The Second Coming by a guy called John Niven, who and it's about basically during the Renaissance. I think God sees that everything's going really well, and the human race is finally the Enlightenment and all that sort of thing is finally getting itself together. So he goes on a fishing holiday, which lasts 700 years, well 600 years or something like that, and then he comes back and Jesus is just sort of jamming on the guitar with Jimi Hendrix and things like that, and having just getting really having a good old smoke and everything like that. And then God comes back and sees that there are something like 20,000 different branches of the Catholic Church alone, all which disagree with each other, and he smashes his office up, and then so he sends his son back to Earth to go on X Factor or something like that. And he goes on there and says, "Oh, I'm Jesus Christ. I'm the Son of God." And obviously, everyone thinks he's a lunatic.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, it's really yeah, it's great. It's really hilarious and odd, but yeah, in a way, I think we're gonna get. I think God's still on his fishing holiday at the moment.
That is, yeah, that fits.
Yeah,
Gone fishing.
yeah, he's gone fishing.
Yeah. So, another question: living or departed, which three souls would you like to have tea with?
Oh, oh, let's have a look. Um, that's three of them. Perhaps
I can make a bigger number.
no. So let's go. Let's try for three. Let's see what. Well, I think. Well, maybe people tend to put Jesus on there, don't they? Because I suppose you just have to. There's a lot of questions to be asked. It's a lot. Maybe that would take up most of the time. Just like you were at school, endless questions.
Yeah.
Why this? Why that? Why yes? Jesus. Let's have a think. Oh, what have we got? Guess it'd have to be a music one in there. Maybe I'd have Elvis, because
Mm.
Elvis was sort of the canary in the coal mine of the late the late 20th century, I suppose, the second half of the 20th century. And I think that that whole between post-war and the start of this century was probably almost you start to get the feeling that maybe that was all a blip, that there was a slightly especially over here, that was a kind of almost post-war socialist utopia when you just realise that everybody's got to look after each other because this whole place has been decimated and no one's got anything. So we need to. They started the NHS and the National Health Service and various other, and the welfare state and all that sort of thing in a way that sort of said, right, we've got to just take care of vulnerable people, and that
Mm.
seems to be gradually since, yeah, I suppose since certain events of the early part of the 21st century is gradually being chopped away. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'd just probably ask him about and obviously I'm a slight kind of I do have a sort of slight Elvis fixation, as much as I kind of feel like he pretty much invented the second half of the 20th century, really.
He definitely kicked it off.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not that he didn't invent rock and roll by any stretch of the imagination, but he made it something, an enormous cultural force. Be that right or wrong, but obviously, I think he did try early on at least to pay tribute to a lot of the people that had come before him,
Mm-hmm.
and then after that, maybe I'd have there we go. I'd have Bob Mortimer possibly. Do you know of Reeves and Mortimer? Do you know Vic Reeves and Bob Mortimer?
No.
Ah, okay. Well, okay. Well, how to explain Reeves and Mortimer? I suppose they were the kind of my generation's Monty Python over here, I think.
Okay, okay.
There were kind of two sort of slightly surrealist comedians. They did a thing called Vic Reeves' Big Night Out. He was kind of Britain's top light entertainer and singer, but it was all just complete nonsense and like just incredibly weird and what have you. But Bob Mortimer's become a bit of a national treasure. He's become a great sort of storyteller. He's the sort of person that now, coming from those beginnings, when it was all just weird, surreal, mad nonsense, he's now the kind of person that your parents love. Like
Mm.
My wife's mum is a huge fan of Bob Mortimer. He's a great sort of yarn spinner, and he'll always go off on weird tangents and come up with names for various people that are involved in this story for no apparent reason. It just he would talk about. I don't know. There's a show here called Would I Lie to You, when someone has to read something out and say, or they introduce someone or something like that. Say, this is Bob or this is Dave, and he was my classmate, and we used to annoy the teacher or something like that. And they'd have to, the other team would have to guess whether or not he's telling the truth.
Mm-hmm.
But his stories were always absolute madness. He managed to convince them that the rock singer Chris Rea had taught him that he basically made him, every time he has a bath, he cracks an egg in it now and boils the egg in while he's having a bath so he can eat it at the end. And he actually managed to convince them that this rock singer, Chris Rea, had told him about cracking an egg in the bath, something like that. And they decided that he convinced them that it was all true. And it wasn't true. But yeah, and they're like, well, no, it was Bob Mortimer. Of course, anything could be true. So
Amazing.
Bob Mortimer is, I think I'll have Bob because he'd add a bit of levity to the situation, I think.
Good
So
choice.
yeah,
I like that.
It'll probably be a completely different tea party if I thought about it tomorrow, but there you go. They were the three I currently thought about.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, I wonder what I would ask Jesus.
Yeah, what would
Like what was with the COVID thing, man?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's all those things. Yeah, there are those things
Was
that
that
you
you?
know. There's that Stephen Fry interview. Then he sort of said, what would you say if you met God? And he'd say, childhood cancer. Why is that? Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you do that?
Yeah.
So yeah, there would be many questions.
I would. Yeah, I think it would get heated, so I might have to spike my tea to.
He may turn a table over or something. I know he was known to have a little temper every now and again in the with the usurers and what have you.
Mm-hmm. That's
Not that
actually
we're
one of my
those types.
favorite stories.
Mm.
They had a little market going in a temple, and Jesus walks in, starts flipping tables and yelling at everyone. I was
Yeah,
like, "This is awesome!"
yeah. Jesus kicked off,
Right? It
as
was
we'd
great.
say. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, how has the culmination of everything that you've been through, everything that you've created, has that changed how you view life as you go?
What generally everything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, To be honest with you, I feel like a very lucky man, and I'm able to do what I love doing, really, and in a way that's, if you can do that, then you're the luckiest person alive, really. I'm
Yeah.
able to make music, play around with words, try and have fun, try and be amusing, and when I go and play, I I get a lot of nice feedback from people, and it's nice to be liked. And also, things like occasionally, some people will approach me at shows and just say, let's say they were in a bad place, and they somehow discovered me, and it just made the world a slightly less bad place.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there's no greater sort of honor in life than to have that happen, really. So I think I've kind of made music, really, in almost just about a professional fashion for nearly 30 years now, in various different guises. Mr. B's been around for 18 years or so, but I was doing
Mm-hmm.
lots of other things before that as well, and managing to just about scrape a living from them. So yeah, lots of other musical things. So yeah, I feel very blessed. I kind of I'm trying to avoid the trap of paradise syndrome of just thinking, right, it's this good. Surely something terrible must be around the corner.
Mm.
And I do worry a lot. It does keep me awake sometimes, just thinking about when my mother goes, what's going to happen with my sister. That's a real,
Mm-hmm.
a real sort of proper fear that sits there for a while. But as we said before, things never go exactly as you think they're going to go. So in a way, I try and keep things at bay by just saying that,
Mm-hmm.
just saying it's not going to go the way you think it will.
Yeah, that's fair.
So yeah, that's what keeps me keeps me going.
Yeah. It reminds me of the saying, if things are going bad, don't worry, this too shall pass. And
Mm.
if things are going good, don't worry, this too shall pass.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, you're never complacent about it, though. Generally speaking, it's always. I think I'm always, my wife's always saying, well, when she's not calling me a lazy swine, she says I'm, the most motivated and hardworking person she's ever met, just because it's all off my own back. There's no one else involved. It's just me, and so I deal with everything, with booking gigs and with everything really.
Mm-hmm.
And but it's something, yeah, it's just something I get up in the morning and want to do. So I just crack on and make music and work and write and what have you. So it's yeah, it's a lovely thing.
Good. Very good. What music does Mr. B listen to when he's
Oh,
sad?
when he's sad,
Mm-hmm.
well, it all depends on whether sad Mr. B wants to wallow in the sadness and embrace the sadness or escape the sadness. So it's with the wallowing, there'll be probably, if I really want to go, thing is, I'm a huge Prince fan. Prince is one of my absolute heroes,
Mm-hmm.
and he actually died on my birthday. It was my birthday, and
Oh.
which slightly of a birthday, and he somewhat ruined the day for me. But it does mean now that every year, if I want to, I can legitimately have a Prince party every birthday and just play Prince, which
That's
I have
true.
done a few times. Yeah, so it's okay.
Nice.
Yeah, but then also, so to listening to things, it's oddly enough, it was on my 15th birthday that I recorded the song "Sometimes It Snows in April," which is it's a song about death and a song about a friend dying. But it was actually, I think it was a fictional character from his film Under the Cherry Moon. But yeah, it's a song about somebody dying and how he feels about it. It's a really beautiful song. I think after he died, a couple of people, I think was it D'Angelo, was on one of the big talk shows and did a version of it and slightly broke down halfway through, but
Aw.
carried on. So yeah, if I run a good old wallow, sometimes it's Nose in April by Prince is just that's always going to get me.
Yeah.
And also, yeah, at my dad's funeral, I think I find it hard to listen to "In My Life" by the Beatles now because he'd said before that he wanted that at his funeral, so
Hmm.
we had to do it. But it's now kind of now makes that song a tough listen. I mean, it's a great. I love that song completely. It's just a beautiful
Yeah.
song, and but now it's got an extra little frisson to it.
Oh, bittersweet.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the point of the funeral when I had to lose it for a short while
Hmm.
and try not. I wasn't able to be stoic during that. But yeah, those are things for a good old wallow.
Love it.
Hmm.
I like to listen to Sleeping at Last
I don't know what's
when I'm wallowing. They're
what's sleeping at last. I don't know
oh,
that one. Really.
he's got such a beautiful voice and does really good covers.
Hmm.
And he does a cover of Already Gone
Okay.
that just touches your soul.
Mm.
And I had a friend, the friend who called me his dear Psychopomp, that's where I got the name from.
Ah, okay. Ah,
Before he died,
right.
he introduced me to Sleeping at Last, and then I found this song, and it fit so well while we were talking before he died, and then after he
Hmm.
died, like the song had a completely different meaning, and a
Mm. Yeah,
whole bunch
absolutely.
of songs suddenly had different meanings. And the same happened when my father passed away. You know, we
Yes.
our song was Summer of '69 because
Right.
that's specifically the one that he taught me to air guitar to. And
Oh, very good.
I can shred a pretty good air guitar.
Oh, yeah, I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, yeah, with my father, we I think we were listening to some Acker Bilk, who was an old English jazz clarinetist.
Oh.
Yeah, and he was kind of a big star over here. He was a bit of a personality. Always wore a bowler hat and a waistcoat and played the clarinet. And he's got a song called "Stranger on the Shore," which is just a gorgeous piece of music. And yeah,
Hmm.
we listened to that when he was going. That and some live football commentary. It's what he would want, like trad jazz and football, as in soccer. You know, that's
What?
how he would have wanted to go and how he did. So
Yeah.
yes,
What's
we
the
had a
score?
bizarre picnic. Yeah, we had a bizarre picnic around his deathbed. It was really bizarre in this hospital in the sort of intensive care unit. We all got some sandwiches from downstairs and just sat around waiting. You know, they'd switch the machines off and just waiting for him to go. And but even those there's little moments of levity when they said, "Oh, you will see on the machines his blood pressure will gradually go down." And me and my brother were sat there and sort of watching it, and occasionally it would like go up again, and I'd go, "Oh, going up again. Oh, here we go. Yeah, he's gonna be all right." But yes, obviously knew he wasn't. But then just the little bits when the blood pressure would go up again, and we're like, "Oh, he's back. Oh no." So yes, there were still, yeah, still little moments of levity like that.
Mm-hmm. It's funny the things we remember and how our perspective helps color the memory.
Mm, yeah,
And it was just, one thing with my father. So he would have been 65,
right. Okay, well, that's very young.
officially a senior citizen.
Yes.
And I had promised him, because he was really excited. He loved going out to restaurants for breakfast. Breakfast was the only meal that mattered.
Ah.
And unless it was a grilled cheese. And so I always joked that I would take him for his first senior's meal.
Excellent.
But yeah.
Right.
So before we go, I won't take up too much more of
Yes.
your time.
Of course.
I wrote you a little rhyme.
Oh.
Ahem.
Hit me.
Oh, Mr. B, his mustache so fine, with wit and charm, your gentlemanliest rhymes divine. In times of sorrow, when the morbs crept near, your melodies wrap me in solace sincere. With banjolele strumming and cheeky flair, you turn my grief into a light affair. Through darkest nights and tear-stained days, your clever verses danced like ghosts in a haze. A cup of Earl Grey in hand, I'd sit tight. Your jolly tunes banished the gloom from my sight. A quip here and there, a chuckle or two, you taught me that laughter could see me through. In tweed and cravat so dapper and spry, you've spun a fine tapestry that makes spirits fly. For every lost moment I thought I'd foregone, your music reminded me that life carries on. And now, dear Mr. B, we all raise a glass. To those who've departed, let's give them some sass. Though you faced your own trials and lost souls afar, we gather round you like a ghostly bazaar. With a wink to the shadows and a nod to the dead, your tunes keep us dancing where angels fear to tread. So here's to you, dear chap of the rhyme. In this mad world of ours, you're simply sublime. With gratitude overflowing like tea from a cup, thank you for existing and for lifting us up.
Well, what can I say? That's lovely. You know what? All the way through that, I was thinking, I'm going to have to get you to send me that, and I'll put some music behind it.
Oh, I would love that.
Yes, so please do. Please send me that bit,
I absolutely will.
and I'll do something with it.
I can't wait.
Lovely.
Thank you so much.
Oh, it's an
for
absolute
coming to
pleasure.
chat
Thank
with
you for
me.
talking to me.
Yes, of course. And you have a wonderful day.
And yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. You can find Mr. B online at gentlemanrhymer.com. And be sure to check out his newest album, Be Curious. If this episode delighted you, please hit the like button, share, follow, subscribe, and if your platform allows, leave a comment and let me know what you think. Your support fills my metaphorical cup, and it keeps this podcast going. You can find me online at dearpsychopomp.com or contact@dearpsychopomp.com. Death isn't a secret. Let's talk about it.